kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
Round 2 of the Endurance for Amateur series brings us to a very, very foggy Okayama circuit as we head to the Far East and to Japan. And after an exciting first round with 3 classes involved, we now bring you some more exciting racing here tonight. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for making us a part of your evening. My name is Sam Cooper here with ESPN, and joining me in the booth once again is one Mr. Byron Rodney. And Byron, we go from one extreme to another. We're in the fog here tonight. That should make things a lot more interesting.
Well, it's going to add a lot of grip to the 11 turns, 2.3 miles here at Okayama. It's going to, the track's going to be a little grippy. Maybe the moisture might make it slippery. I don't know how the new model's going to react on this. All I know is I hopped up on the blimp view, and yeah, I'm not going to be watching this from the blimp. I can't see the track from the air, but I'll tell you what, I can see it from the camera angles. We're going to have a great race.
And this camera view just here just gives you an idea of how foggy it is out there. It is extremely bad, and yeah, it's going to be very hard to see the cars in front of you, especially if you're trying to lap someone in front of one of the lower classes. If you're in GTE, you've got to be extra careful around here in this weather.
Yeah, I'm checking the weather outside. It is 71 degrees Fahrenheit. Track temp is only 74, so they got a cool track. Winds out of the northwest, 2 mile an hour, but relative humidity, 98%. And the barometer is rising. Might clear off a little as the race goes on. I don't know. We got an hour and 40 minutes to find out.
Well, the sun is trying to break through, and it's gonna be so we're interested to see if it does break through and we get some it does clear some of that fog. But a lot of drivers out here again here tonight. A lot of well, I'm seeing a couple of new drivers as well. Let me just update my driver list so I can actually tell you who. As we have new drivers in the field. We have Thomas Dennis, Nick Terrell, Mark Thomas, Mackenzie Johnson is back, Jake Elrod, Gareth McAllister, Derek Sherman, David Lehman, Carl Handwork, Andrew Neri, and well, William Alcala and Tony Watson are back as well. But that is a big list of new drivers here tonight.
Yeah, big list of new drivers. Big list of drivers overall. We got, once again, this has turned out to be one of the most popular races, leagues I have seen on iRacing when we're packing this many cars on the track. Qualifying underway. I got my eyes on one Mr. Dennis Diaz to see how he does here in these weather conditions in the Far East in Okayama.
Just up ahead is one of the new drivers to the series. That is Doug Betts right now out on track in the McLaren. Now, he had a very quiet race last week at Canadian Tire. Hoping to have a much more resounding performance here tonight. As you look at that fog as he's coming down the straight right there.
Oh, I know. It's going to be interesting, really interesting from a driver standpoint. You know what? I'm with Dennis Diaz right now. Let me jump in the cockpit with him and see what the driver's view of this track is going to look like. So far, so good. Yeah, long straightaway right here. You know, he's got a long view for that corner as he heads off into the left-hander. From the driver's perspective, it doesn't look that bad, but, you know, if you're up there in the chopper or up there in the blimp, you're going to have some effort to see this track.
Now, let's, now that I've found him, now let's just jump on board with him. It doesn't look too bad from a driver's perspective as he starts his qualifying lap. We're going to stay on board with him right now, and we're going to give you a lap around this circuit right now. First right-hander comes up very quickly after the start-finish line. You got a nice sweep from right-hander, got a break down there, very similar to turn 1 at Donington Park. Then you've got this left-hander, got to be careful, don't run too far wide, it'll put you in the gravel trap and into the wall. Then you've got a left and then a right, and then a little dink to the left there into the first little hairpin section right there. Double apex, got to be very careful with that one. Got to leave that one, get as much power as you can as we get the big run down towards the second hairpin of the night. And you've got to brake very as late as you can, but be very careful. It's very tight. Tight right-hander, take as much inside curb as you can, and then you are into the first left-hander. Then another left-hander, not as tight as the first one, but still got to be careful going around there. Take as much curb as you want. As he's going to come down to the final few corners of this track now. And then they've got another tight left-hander into another tight right-hander, very similar to the hairpin he went around previous. Then go up the hill slightly. Then it's like the final two corners at Spain here, except the final one is a bit tighter. And he comes out of the final turn, and that is your lap at Okayama. A very technical track here to Okayama here, Byron.
Yeah, as he lays down the mark to beat with a 125.772, he's going for a second lap. But, if you watch that whole lap, as Sam was describing it, not a lot of time to take a mental break, and you got to do an hour and 40 of this, hitting your marks. Do not take too much of the curves. Stay off of the grass. Lap traffic is going to be a beast at this track with these corners, because you notice that the bulk of them were second gear corners, and those final corners were all first gear corners. Very technical, very hard, very hard braking, very hard to keep complete control of the car through this whole thing.
That's true, as I'm looking at Tyler Langenberg is highlighted in green for some reason, although it should be highlighted in yellow, and there it is. I've just changed it right there. As Sean Atkins to the top of the board here. That is a very, very good time there for the man in the Porsche right there.
Very good time. Laid down at 125.501, 2/10 faster than Dennis Diaz. We'll have to see if Dennis can pick up the pace on this second lap or not.
Nick Terrell on his debut up into P5. Tyler Langenberg, who had a good first outing in Season 3 last week, despite before it all fell off the boil, and he had to drive a damaged car for the rest of the race. He gets P6. David Lehman, P7, with Dennis Diaz straight to the top of the board.
Oh my gosh, Dennis Diaz just used up all the track that he could. And then Bryce Anderson knocks him right off the top. Usual suspects at the top of the GTE class. Look at a GT3A, which is a looser setup of the GT3 cars. A little harder to drive. They get a little more speed on them because they have less downforce. Ryan Tyler on the top of the board there with Carl Handwerk right behind him. That's a new name to me, Carl Handwerk in the 118. Look at a GT3B, Mackenzie Johnson on top. Oh, Mark Dillon Jr., as I said that, Mark Dillon Jr. rocks it to the top in a GT3B class, a little slower than GT3A with more downforce on the car, so it's a little more stable to handle.
Now, one driver that I'm noticing is back in an old class that he was in before. Paul Boyle, for the first time since Season 1, back in a GTE car. He's rocking the GTE Porsche tonight.
Nice. Glad to see him back in that car. And I'm taking a look, and I got to look to see if he actually made it in. Tyler Vickery, where are you?
He's
I
on
don't
track.
want to see an Alt F4 today.
No, he's driving. Actually, I think Paul Boyle might be in GT3A. Actually, I could be wrong. Yeah, he's in GTA. I apologise. I'm not. My stuff isn't updating properly, so you know it is what it is.
The internet. What can we say?
Well, I know what I can say is work better, do better. There you go. As we're looking at Paul Boyle, he's finished his qualifying run, only gets P9 in GT3A. Now we're going to go back to Tyler Vickery. He's got plenty of time to get a lap done. The lap for the GT3A is 1 minute and 28, only 3 seconds slower than the GTEs here. That's a very interesting, well, that's a very small gap between the two classes.
Well, it's slower corners, Sam. Most of those corners we noticed guys were taking second gear corners, and the last few corners were first gear corners. GT3A is going to be a very nimble car around the slower speed corners. The GT3 has the horsepower to leg it out on the straights. Not going to be that much of a separation, but still we're going to have class battles all over the place.
This is going to be a fast time for Tyler Vickery. He got purple in the first sector, then he got green in the other two as he's coming through the final two corners right now. This could be a good one if he gets it right out of the final turn here for Tyler Vickery. Coming down to the line, let's see what he can put down here. He might have lost a bit of time in that final part of the course. He has. And he goes only P8 there. He was on course for a fastest lap there. Not sure what happened in that final sector.
Got it a little tail happy, it looked like, off of that last turn. Tried to put that power down just a little too quick. You can't do that on that last final turn. It's a real slow speed turn with no banking. And you gotta, these guys, I've been watching. They've been using as much of the curbing as they can. Be careful with that curbing. It unsettles the suspension, especially on a corner you want to get the power down as quick as you can on, and that'll lend to a lot of spins.
Looking at one of the drivers returning this season, that's William Alcala in the Mercedes, running in GT3B this season. A very anime-inspired paint scheme on that Mercedes as he comes through the first part of the course. He will have enough time to get this lap finished, but only this time, as I'm looking at the qualifying times at the bottom right now, and Tyler Vickery's gone purple again.
Well, we're going to have to see where he slots in. He's getting ready to close out his final lap.
Bryce Anderson is out on track as well, but he's not going to finish his... well, he's already finished his times. He looks like he's going to get the pole. He got the pole last week but had a horrible race. As here comes Tyler Vickery again. Let's see where this one's going to put him. And it's even slower than it was last time. Stays in P8.
Looks like Tyler's just struggling a little bit on the tail end of that track towards the end of the final turns. It looks like is where he's losing his time at.
Thomas Dennis, well, that's not going to do it for Thomas Dennis on his debut here tonight. In the McLaren, spins it through the second hairpin and gets it all wrong. Thomas and William Alcala just finishing his flying lap right now as he comes through the final turn. And what's this going to be for Alcala? Well, it's not going to be fast enough. That's exactly what it's going to be. And his time does not get counted. Thomas Dennis back out on track, and that will pretty much do it for qualifying. It's actually Nick Terrell. I think he's already finished his qualifying run in his Corvette. Probably the highest qualifier of the new drivers here, P6.
Not bad. Great showing for the new drivers here tonight. I'm taking a look at car count tonight. We had 44 last week. Looks like we're hitting them again. Another 44 tonight.
Let me see. We've got 17 GTEs. Well, we can count it right now. 17, 30. We've got 44 again. Yeah, we've got 44. But anyway, that is qualifying over. That means we can get started with the grid here tonight, and starting up on the pole in GTE will be Bryce Anderson for the second week in a row. Can he hold on to it this time? Had a horrible start to the race. He'll be joined in the front row by the reigning champion, Dennis Diaz. Row 2 will be Sean Atkins and Terry Cowger Jr. Row 3 will be Tony Watson and Nick Terrell. Row 4 will be Tyler Langenberg and David Lehman. Row 5 will be Jimmy Coburn and Brad McCombs. Row 6 will be Andrew Neri and Kevin D'Elia. As that will be your GTE field there, I believe. No,
there's more.
Yeah, I'm going to try and get to him. Row 7 will be Curtis Kelly and Timothy Bramlett. Row 8 will be Derek Sherman and Oleg Vorotniak and Steve Santana. Rounds out your GTE field here, Byron.
GT3A class, going to be Ryan Tyler, got the pole with a 128.338. Carl Handwerk, great showing, second place on there, starting to his outside elbow. Nicholas Paletti and Aaron Clayball make up the next row. Mark Thomas, Keith Roycroft, Keith Roycroft's a name that we know, starting in the next row after that, followed by Lynn Kopp, Tyler Vickery, Marcus Osborne, Mark Herzog, Dallas Sullivan, Paul Boyle in there in the GT3A class, and rounding out the GT3A field will be Timothy Emanuele.
Yeah, and GT3B, we have Mark Dillon on the pole again. Mark Dillon on the pole for this one here tonight. He'll be joined in the front row by Mackenzie Johnson, making his return to the series. Zachary Nurnberger and Roger Shank, last week's winner, make up row 2. Dave Ferrara and Zachary Purcell make up row 3. With row 4 will be Gareth McAllister and Doug Betts. Row 5 in GT3B will be Dennis Crosby and Kelly Boucher, who got the podium last week. Row 6 will be Atticus Middleton and William Alcala, with Jake Elrod and Thomas Dennis rounding out your GT3B field and your whole field for tonight's race. As the field starts rolling off the grid here, this is going to be a very exciting race here. Lots of undulating turns, lots of new drivers, and well, it's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to this one.
Yep, and it's going to be a lot to track as the pace car does take the hard left turn into pit lane. They round the final corner. Bryce Anderson has control of the field. Dennis Diaz right behind him, followed by Sean Atkins. That's your top three. Waiting for the green flag to go in the air for the GTE guys. Barney's flag man's got it in his hand. Barney waves the flag. Green flag is out. We are underway here at Okayama.
Yeah, they get going very late here, down towards turn one, and it's going to be Bryce Anderson and Dennis Diaz leading the way out of turn one, followed by Sean Atkins Jr. There's Terry Calger Jr. and Tony Watson returning this week after missing last week's first race of the season. Nick Terrell and Tyler Langenberg are going to battle it out of the first two corners, as here come the GT3A drivers going through the first few corners of the track as well. At the back of the GTE field, Derek Sherman and Steve Santana very slow to get away. GT3B are underway as well now, with Mark Dillon Jr. leading the way. Mackenzie Johnson in second place.
Yeah, Mark Dillon Jr. Oh, he gets it wrong. Spins it, no contact, but he has got it way pointed the wrong way. He is going to lose all that track position. Going to fall from the front to the back of the GT3B class. He's got a lot of work to do. He did get it wrong, but he does recover it. No damage on the car.
Yeah, nearly got collected by Thomas Dennis, though, as we go back to the GTE field, and Dennis Diaz has taken the lead here, Byron.
Well, yeah, Dennis Diaz didn't take him long, not even one lap, to get that Beamer to the Meme MW out to the point, as I've already seen Oleg Vorotniak get disconnected for internet issues, as Dennis Diaz leads them over the start-finish line, concluding the first lap tonight. We are working lap 2. We are underway, an hour and 40 minutes of endurance racing. But how many times have we said it? You know, you got to stay mentally sharp through the whole thing. Trust me, I know. I raced a super speedway race, and I just lost my mental nuts right in the last final five laps, and took myself out of contention for a win. We'll have to see how these guys handle it.
Yep, and just as you were saying that, Tyler Vickery's had a problem. He's fallen to the back of the GT3A field, and will get to the back of Timothy Emanuele. Now, he's had a spin somewhere. I caught the tail end of it just as you were talking right there, and he's back up to speed again, but he has Mackenzie Johnson right on his tail, and those GT3 cars, they can run at similar speeds, albeit different setups. That's why they're separated by class.
Yeah, the setup difference is a higher downforce on the GT3B versus the GT3A. The GT3, that'll make the GT3A a faster car through the longer straights, because it doesn't have the drag on it. But it's also going to be a harder car to drive because you don't have the downforce, so you got to wheel it a little bit. You got to know how to handle a loose car. As Tyler Vickery goes to dive it on the inside, makes the move to pick up another spot.
It doesn't go around the inside. He goes around the outside of Timothy Emanuele. It's a great move there, and right behind him, Zachary Nürnberger forcing his way to the lead there. Great move, capitalizing on the action in front of them.
Yep. Mercedes making her showing.
Yeah. So it's Mercedes versus McLaren right now. Roger Sank rocking the McLaren. Their speaker was in the Lamborghini last week, still rocking the same paint scheme. He must love that scheme on his car, as he is in third place and looking for a second win here tonight. The battle in between, actually, Nürnberger's got in front of Emanuele now, and here comes Emanuele to try and get back around him again.
Yeah, Emanuele, he's rocking that GT3A car. He's getting passed by GT3Bs. It's not setting well with him, as he's not giving up the ghost. He's working that outside lane, but he is hanging on. And oh my God, I just love that Roger Shank paint job.
No matter what car it's on.
No matter. Can we do that for our 24, Sam?
Well, put that paint scheme on?
Yeah, can we rock the shark teeth on a 24?
If we can find it.
I'm sure you got a coloring crayon set that'll be good enough.
I'm not. That's out of my. That's above my pay grade, I think. Back to GTE, we've had a couple of incidents in that class. Nick Terrell has fallen to, he's not fallen to the back of the GTE field, because we saw a spin from Steve Santana. Derek Sherman's fallen off the pace as well, and he's off of the track again at the final corner, as that is a bunch of GT3A cars passing him right now as he comes across the line. Not a good debut for him so far. as like I mentioned with Nick Terrell, he is currently down in P14. The first driver in front of the GT3A cars, and Ryan Tyler already out to a decent lead over Carl Handwerk.
Yeah, but you know what? Carl Handwerk, I'm really impressed. He got out there and laid down a nice lap for qualifying, got himself up into that second qualifying spot, and he's just holding serve. You know, you don't got to be the fastest car, but you do need to be the most consistent. And I did not get a chance to talk to the guys pre-race. It's going to be interesting to see how far are they going to stretch it on a tank of Go Fast here. How many laps before they bring it pit side? And are they going to take tires? I would assume that they're going to want to take tires in this one because, you know, this many corners, you're going to wear on this thing. But with this weather and the cold track, maybe not. I don't know.
This is absolutely true. As we're looking at...
we got an off-track channel.
And who's that? That's Thomas Dennis, I think. Thomas Dennis in trouble. Where is he? There he is. Oh, that's a big off-track for that the McLaren driver. He's trying to jump to pits. And Atticus is involved.
Middleton. Yep, the Atticus is in the pits.
Oh, and that's how Mark Dillon Jr. got his damage, because Middleton spun right in front of Dillon. Now let's take a look and see what happened to Thomas Dennis here. Just ran too far wide through the corner. And I hope he didn't try and rejoin right in front of somebody. He didn't. He just stopped it, and he just towed it.
Yeah, these guys are very well aware, you know. We watched in the first season, there was an issue with some guys looking at their relative on the rejoin after making a spin. Now, we're deep into we're second race into the third season. They've been paying attention to it. They're doing good.
Absolutely. We're looking at Brad McCombs right now. Didn't have the best of first races last week. Was right behind the orange Corvette of Jimmy Covert, who in turn had a very good debut last week in that Corvette.
Yeah, Jimmy Covert impressed me last week. We'll have to see where he shakes out here at Okayama, because we are in a totally different track, as these guys are just testing all of the track limits that they can, and Thomas Dennis puts it on the hauler.
Yeah, as Thomas Dennis is gone. Atticus Middleton is back out of pit road again. We'll keep an eye on his endeavours for this race, as Marcus Osborne has been off track, ran a bit too far wide out of the final corner. Now is under pressure from Keith Roycroft. Winner from Watkins Glen. Had a very quiet run, as here comes Mark Herzog. Big dive to the inside of Roycroft there through turn one, and gets the job done, or does he? Because here comes Roycroft back at him. Yep, Herzog able to get the job done on the outside.
Yeah, Roycroft falling back. Herzog's got his sights set on the back of that number 7 Pony Express Reese's Pieces looking machine of Marcus Osborne.
We say Reese's Pieces looking machine because it doesn't have the Reese's.
Oh, it does have Reese's on the hood.
Oh, it does. Yeah, I see it on the left corner. There you go. All is forgiven, Marcus. All is forgiven. We're about to send the boys around with the baseball bats. Anyway, as this race continuing on, we are just coming up to 9 minutes in, and lots of action going on so far. Dennis Diaz already out to 1.5 seconds in the lead. This guy's unstoppable so far, but still a long way to go. Yeah,
and it's going to take a little bit, because, you know, it's a tight track, slower corners for him to catch lap traffic. But lap traffic's going to figure into this thing. You watch.
Yeah. Diaz, your leader. Bryce Anderson in second. Terry Cowger Jr. in third place. Then you got Sean Atkins back there in P4. Tony Watson in the top 5 in the Brumos Porsche. That lovely number 59 machine is out there once again. David Lehman, the highest of the newest drivers in the field, doesn't really have a paint scheme on his car. Just has the stock paint scheme, but that's not to worry as long as the car's working fine. He's currently in P7 and is a pretty decent gap ahead of Jimmy Covert right now, so Lehman having a good night so far.
Yeah, not a bad night. You know what they say? You don't need a pretty car. You just need a pretty fast car. Chrome doesn't make it go faster. The driver in the car does.
Well, you know, sometimes. If you've got a Ferrari paint scheme, apparently it takes away about 20 miles per hour, but that's a different thing.
Oh, that's a whole nother conversation.
We've had an incident for one Mr. Gareth McAllister. Had an off track somewhere about a lap ago. No damage on that Lamborghini, but still keeping it going. Under a bit of pressure though from Kelly Boucher. Now Boucher had a very good debut. He was very happy to talk to us in the interviews last week. He doesn't seem to be having the same look this time.
No, different track, whole different style. It all depends on the passing that needs to take place. As Dennis Diaz is now having to work traffic.
That he is, and let's see how he works it through the fog. And I can't quite see who he's coming up on. I believe yeah, he's coming up on Atticus Middleton. So that'll be the first driver to negotiate your way around, as Tony Watson is making his way around. Actually, one of the Mercedes, I believe that's Jake Elrod. No, it's not Jake Elrod. Who's that? That's Dave Ferrara in a very damaged Martini Mercedes.
Yeah, well, while Dennis Diaz has been working lap traffic, it's allowed Bryce Anderson to catch up to him. Bryce, not very far behind Dennis Diaz right now, looking to make a race out of it.
Yeah, and having a very good start to his race is Bryce Anderson. We'll be looking to continue on that. He started on the pole last week as well here, Byron, let's not forget, and had that spin that put him back through the field, and I believe it ended in retirement for him. So Anderson, did it end in retirement? Let me just look at the points right now. I don't think it did, but
it didn't end very good.
No, it didn't end very well for him. Let me just look at my point standings. Oh yeah, it did end in retirement because he was last. So Anderson will be looking for a much better night this night, as Lehman has had an off track, and just as we would say nice things about him as well.
Don't look now, but Terry Calder Jr. in third place is starting to catch up to these two. We're about to have a three-way dance.
Oh
for the top spot in GTE.
And that's why Lehman went off. Atticus Middleton just losing the back end of his Mercedes and right into the path of David Lehman.
Nowhere to go.
Yeah. Tell you what, it's made a race of it though, because Andrew Neri turns Lehman and Neri spins himself, so Lehman he just can't catch a break right now.
No, he's keeping the car in one piece, and that's what's awful important.
And Neri gives him the
Lehman makes his way around Neri, yeah.
Yeah, Neri gave him the spot back. That's a very good gentleman driver there. Very good sportsmanship from Andrew Neri there.
Yes, it is.
As I'm not sure
Keeping
what.
my eye on this lead battle as Dennis Diaz has legged it out a bit more again over Bryce Anderson.
And he's
They're coming up on the back end of Dennis Crosby.
Yes, they are. That is Crosby in front of them. Can Crosby get out of the way safely? He does. Into the hairpin just ahead of them is Mark Dillon Jr. and Zach Purcell. And Purcell has got damage on that Braun Mercedes again. I don't know why he keeps doing that, but
Mark Dillon Jr. is missing the bonnet on the hood.
He got into it with Atticus Middleton. As
Mark Dillon Jr. just cannot. Oh, someone's just spinning right in front of him.
Yeah, that's Kelly Boucher. Into the gravel in the Heusinkveld Mercedes. He gets it going again. Let's take a look and see what happened here to Boucher. And it's on the run up to the corner. And backhand just went away. Went in there a bit too went in there a bit too hot, and the back end just went around.
Well, one of the adjustments that the drivers do have is they can control brake bias. And, you know, I was paying attention to some of the online tutorials of how to get around a track on a road course. you'll see guys adjust that brake bias, forward to back and back to front many times during a lap. You want to have more front bias, in a slower speed corner than you do on or a less braking zone than you do on a heavy braking zone. And if you got too much rear bias in it in a heavy braking zone, especially if you're going to trail brake it, rear end's going to step out on you.
Yep, we have a battle for fourth place between Sean Atkins and Tony Watson right now as they go around Steve Santana, who's still driving around in a very damaged Corvette there. But this battle between Atkins and Watson really starting to heat up now. It's actually Watson having a few connection problems right there.
Yeah, taking a look a little further back, Tyler Langenberg making a move with that Corvette, getting around a slower class car. Tyler Langenberg hanging around about the top 5, he's running 6th at the moment, having a decent run tonight.
That he is. He's having a very quiet run. He's not got any GTE cars around him. The only ones are Atkins and Watson, but they're not that close to him at all. Behind him, it's a big old gap to Jimmy Covert.
Yeah, and I just jumped down another class over to the GT3A. Ryan Tyler's got just a massive command on the field by about 3 seconds over Carl Handwerk, who's holding his own. You got to go back a long way to find third place running Nicholas Paletti.
Well, Handwerk's holding his own against the GTE driver right now. That's Derek Sherman right behind him. And Handwerk decided to finally move out of the way of Handwerk. No, actually, yeah. And Handwerk finally gives it up to Sherman right there.
Mackenzie Johnson is holding down the point in the GT3B class. Zachary Nurnberger, about 5 seconds off of the back of him in the GT3Bs. And Roger Shank, he's not that far behind. Roger Shank's got a shot with that shark tooth car to come up and challenge for second in the GT3B class.
Yep, there's the gap between Bryce Anderson and Dennis Diaz is starting to close up again here, Byron. The gap is less than a second again. Anderson wanting to get around. This is the great thing about having lap traffic on the track. It gives you a chance to close back in again. The only problem is that Diaz seems to have the straight line speed around here, and it opens up again. But at the moment, the gap holding off to about 0.7 of a second. The guy in third place, Derek Calgar Jr., can't really do anything about it, but he might find himself in a bit of trouble very soon, because that's Tony Watson, that's Sean Atkins right behind him.
Yep, Tony Watson ain't too far behind Sean Atkins, rounding out the top 5 in your top class GTE.
Yep. So it's all going off as Tyler Langenberg trying to get around Timothy Emanuele. Yeah. And Langenberg will
Fog's still the issue here at Okayama today.
Very much so. There's Brad McCombs just ahead of Timothy Bramlett, who's had a very quiet start to the race so far. Kevin D'Elia has had a very quiet start to the race. He's currently sitting in P10 right now. Last driver in the top 10, Nick Terrell and David Lehman are having a bit of a battle right now, and Curtis Kelly has fallen back quite a bit. He's down in P13 now. Ryan Tyler right behind him.
It's not a bit of a battle between Terrell and Lehman. It is a big battle. Lehman all over the back deck of Delia.
That's Terrell is behind, actually.
Oh, is it Terrell behind?
Yeah. Terrell's in front of Lehman.
Lehman, sorry. It's Lehman all over the back of Terrell.
Yeah.
You know what? There's so many cars on here. My timing and scoring is having fun keeping up, out here in the mobile command center.
Oh, Diaz has had a problem. Sorry to cut you off there. Diaz is around. And is around in a big way.
In a very bad spot to rejoin as well.
And he's lost the back end there right in front of Bryce Anderson and into the gravel. Now, this is going to lose him a lot of spots here. And I remember he did this last week and still won, but this is even worse than last week. He's had to stop and let a lot of traffic by here.
It wasn't just a lot of traffic. It looked like half of the damn field had to go by him. before he was able to rejoin. But we've seen it before. Once Dennis Diaz gets on the back foot, elbows up, he turns into a demon behind the wheel.
Yeah, but he's a long, long way back now. The only reason why he got back in front like he did is because A, people were making mistakes, and B, he got his pit strategy absolutely perfect last week.
I don't see any damage on the BMW, just got lost the rear end on it.
Oh, we got cars off in the... Oh no. We've got cars off in the last part of the track, and let's see, it's Kelly Boucher involved again. I saw Atticus Middleton off as well. As Boucher goes around, Mark Dillon has to stop to avoid it. You see Middleton off in the distance as well. I'm not really sure what's happened to him, but he was stopped on the corner.
Wow, Diaz fell. Oh, another one off! Right in front of Diaz. That was a close call.
That's Bramlett. Bramlett is off, and let's take a look and see what happened to him. And he was sizing up a move on oh, Jimmy Covert, and Covert got a big piece of that one as well.
Oh, it looks like Bramlett went to dive in under him and just didn't get enough braking done into the side of Covert and knocked them both around.
Yeah, and that's going to put them very much on the back foot as well. And this is exactly what I was saying about Dennis Diaz being able to bounce back. This is because other people in front of him making mistakes, and that is exactly fallen right into Diaz's wheelhouse now.
Yeah, Kelly Bouchard put the latest one to put it on the hauler. But, you know, if you're watching your relative, Sam, and you're driving in class, and you know Dennis Diaz is running away with it, and all of a sudden you see him drop back 10 spots, and you're running in fifth, are you running elbows up to keep him back there, or to try to get as much distance on him as you can?
I mean,
maybe that's the mental error.
I would.
Bryce Anderson been handed control of the race. He's got, almost 3 seconds by my count over Calgary Jr. is down second.
Timothy Bramlett has had another spin through the first of the two left-handers at the bottom of the track, and he finally he gave that position back to Jimmy Covert in that way. But yeah, there's a lot of action on track, and that's the 555 off as well. Dallas Sullivan.
I heard that. I didn't catch that. I need to go back and look at that.
Go back and take a look. The back end just coming around again. Now the GT3Bs, actually he's in a GT3A, so they're in a different setup to the GT3Bs. Like I said, with that, hence the different classes. But no harm, no foul for Dallas Sullivan. Just spun it into the gravel trap, just slightly tapped the tyre wall, and was able to keep on going again. Just waited a while for the traffic to clear.
Marcus Osborne looks like he's starting to catch the back of Lynn Kopp in the GT3A class. That would be for a fifth place, catching the back of fourth place right now.
Yep, there it is. The Reese's BMW right in front of him is Lynn Kopp in the black and green Porsche. As we're still hearing people hit things, and I don't know who it was. It might have been... Was it Dallas Sullivan again? Was it Dallas Sullivan? Oh, Jimmy Covert's in pit road.
Yeah, it was Dallas Sullivan again.
Okay, so Dallas Sullivan having more
just
problems.
Got it off. He just took too much curb, got the right side tires off into the grass, and around she goes.
Go back to the battle between... Actually, we do have a battle between Langenberg and Watson. Now, Watson has lost out to Tyler Langenberg. Langenberg up to P4 now, so something's happened to him as D'Elia is off the track. D'Elia is facing straight onto the track. There goes Bramlett. There goes Kelly. What's happened to Kevin D'Elia here?
He is towed to the pits.
Let's find out what happened. Oh, he just pulled it off the track. Is that an emergency, or is that a technical issue here?
You know what? And that's, you got to give him the hats off to the driver. smart enough to get off the track so they can make the tow and not impede anybody else's race. As we're working, coming up on 25 minutes into this thing.
Yeah, we've had lots of action already. For instance, Carl Handwerk, who was in second place for the longest time, is now down in P4, and this is why. Caught the grass going through the left-hander and out into the gravel. Just goes to show that nobody is safe from that back end just stepping out right there, Byron.
No. And he's got Marcus Osborne right behind him.
That's put Nicholas Paletti up to second place now, by the way. In the Spotify Porsche. Good choice of sponsorship. Lincoln not too far behind. Carl Handwerk and Marcus Osborne right there, as well as Mark Thomas, though, is quite a far behind in his Porsche. But here we go. Handwerk a move on Cop now.
Ooh, side by side around the corner. Who's going to get the advantage of it? As they're still in a drag race.
Good outside pass there by Handwerk. Great move as here comes Osborne. Fancies a pass as well now. Osborne going to look around the outside. Great move there by Osborne as he moves his way up to the 4th spot in GT3. Now, the only problem while these guys are battling and going at it like they are, as Paletti goes around Atticus Middleton, they're letting Ryan Tyler get away. He's now got a 13-second lead over Paletti.
Yeah, Ryan Tyler has just got that, he's got that car out in the wind. It's going to be tough to catch him. The BMW is just sailing. But of course, he's kind of being held up a little bit with traffic right at the moment.
That he is, as we're looking at Tyler Vickery right now. He's in a battle with Aaron Claybor as Middleton's off again into the gravel. And Vickery's starting to try and close the gap on Keith Roycroft right now. The gap down to about 2.2 seconds between the two.
Yeah, Vickery, when he gets his concentration going, elbows up, he can't wheel a car.
No,
but
yeah,
of course, he does know how to. He does know how to use the Alt F4 and wreck a chair while he's at it.
Yeah, he did that last week after retirement at Canadian Tire. But we won't pick on him too much about it. We did that enough last week as Bryce Anderson crossing the line. A nice 4 seconds ahead of Terry Calgar Jr. now, out to a clear lead.
Yeah, waiting for Dennis Diaz to cross that line so I can see my timing and scoring catch up as he makes it around the last right-hander.
Oh, big
pile up. That was
that.
Atticus Middleton. Atticus Middleton and
Roger Shank. And,
Dennis Diaz almost got caught up in the middle of that.
Brad McCombs was in that too.
I need to go on ride on board with Dennis Diaz to see what his view was. How the heck did he miss that going around that corner?
Okay, Middleton lost the back end. And Shank just went into him and McCombs went into him at the same time as well. Let's take another look. On the dynamic cam here. Yeah, just lost the back end. Shank just nowhere to go. McCombs nowhere to go. Diaz, yeah, very lucky to have made it around that one.
Yeah, McCombs all over the back end of Diaz, but does that look like McCombs? Is it just his paint job, or has he got some severe front end damage on that thing?
That's because McCombs was caught up in that Atticus Middleton incident.
Thank God for a fast repair. These guys are going to be using it on that first pit stop.
Well, he's going to have to use it now. He's missing the complete front end of that car. And that, in turn, has put Diaz back up to P6 as well now.
Yeah, but Diaz, even though he did not get a piece of that whatsoever, he did have to get on the binders real hard. And the time that he was making up on the deficit that he had is, back down to 22, or back up to 22 seconds now. He was chopping into it. He was sub 17 before that happened, and now it's up to 22.
Curtis Kelly just coming out of pit road. He was, he's down quite a bit now on the track. He's behind the behind the GT3A class, and is behind Zachary Nurnberger, who's second in GT3B. Paul Boyle is behind Mackenzie Johnson as well. And there's Boyle. There is Mackenzie Johnson leading the GT3B class by some margin. Nearly 16 seconds ahead of Nurnberger now.
Yeah, this is the point where my timing is soaring. Says 1 lap, 2 laps, you know, in arrears. I lose the timing on it.
Yeah. Bryce Anderson still your leader. Terry Calgar Jr. is in second place.
Let's go take a look at the GT3B class at Mark Dillon in the number 3 machine. We saw him with that early spin. He's running around with no hood, but he has still managed to recover. You know, all those positions that he lost, he's recovering. He's only, you know, second, third, fourth, fifth. He's running 6th in class.
Yeah, he's not doing too badly, is Dylan. Would like a better finish, though. Had a horrid debut in the GT3 class, GT3B class last week. Would love a better return this time around. He's closing in on Gareth McAllister and William. Actually, that's not William Alcala. That is Dave Ferrara. But at least he's got a battle in front of him. That's Gareth McAllister and the other Lamborghini right in front of him.
Allowing him to catch up. As long as he stays in the slipstream, he seems to be holding serve, you know, but he gets out on his own. He's losing time aerodynamically without a hood on that car.
It's a frunk. We've already been through this.
Okay,
the
sorry.
engine's in the back.
He doesn't have a bonnet on the boot.
Yeah.
I'll boot your bonnet.
The engine's in the back of the Lamborghini. It's just like the Porsches. Just remember that. Oh, and
okay, so
the only car with a big front end and a big butt is the Mercedes. The engine's actually in the front of those. So, oh, and the BMWs. The only mid-engine car in the field actually is the Lamborghini, is the Corvette. Fun fact.
Don't you have Ferrari in the GT3B?
Yeah, but there's no Ferraris out there tonight.
Well, it shows you how powerful Ferrari's been in iRacing lately.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Mercedes, did you hear the big news today?
Yes, Formula One iRacing making a deal. Mercedes Petronas.
Yeah. So the 2021 Mercedes Formula One car is coming to iRacing. So that should make Formula One racing a bit more exciting again. Plus, they're working on building a brand new custom car, I think I read.
Yeah, well, the last brand new custom car that they built was a beast. Remember when that came out a few months ago?
The R01.
Yeah, took that thing around Watkins Glen and it was suicidal. Loved it.
Yeah. That was the car they made with Delara. Now they're making a car with Mercedes. Should be absolutely insane. I wonder if we're going to get the AMG one. You know that one that Nico Rosberg owns?
Yeah, I'm hoping that we do, but I think another platform has the rights to it, don't they?
Possibly Gran Turismo.
Terry Calgar Jr. GTE running second, doing his best to track down Bryce Anderson. Calgar Jr.'s deficit's down below 3 seconds.
Well, it's back up to 3 seconds again after Bryce Anderson responded almost immediately. Kevin D'Elia has had another off track here. He's back out on track again. So whatever was causing him problems and made him have to tow a few laps ago or a few minutes ago, he's solved it. He's back out on track again, but is quite a ways down. He's 4 laps down now from the leader in GTE. Basically 4 laps down from the race lead. But D'Elia is back out. Dennis Diaz, a bit of an update on him. He is nowhere near Dennis Diaz right now. The gap is about 9.7 seconds between Diaz and Watson right now.
Yeah, Diaz, he was 22 seconds off the pace at the last lap. He's 21 seconds, behind the leader on the last lap. Not making up the ground that he was looking for. Diaz is going to be looking for that pit stop. Normally, we don't see him take rubber. I'm thinking he's probably going to double stint tires and let everyone else try and take rubber. But the car that I'm focused on GTE right now is, look at Tyler Langenberg's solid performance up into the third position.
Yeah, and that's because I think we had an incident for Sean Atkins. No, he didn't. Langenberg just straight up caught him and passed him.
Yeah.
A good run for Langenberg. And here's the pass that happened about 10 minutes ago. Atkins ran wide through the hairpin, and Langenberg just said, "Thank you very much, I'll take that."
Yeah, low-lying fruit. You're going to leave it on the ground, I'm going to pick it up and run with it.
As Langenberg is coming through the two left-handers right now. We're about 36 minutes into this race, so that means we're going to take a quick little break as we need to go and visit the little driver's room. We'll be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. And we are back live here on ESPN. We are seeing a battle brewing between Langenberg and Anderson. And Byron, you saw that they were Anderson was a bit overdriving and Langenberg starting to close the gap. We are also seeing green flag pit stops among the GTE crowd. Dennis Diaz is in pit road as well with Terry Koga Jr. and Tony Watson.
Yeah, I'm going to get my eyes on one Mr. Dennis Diaz. I'm going to see if he takes tires on that thing or not as he brings it to his pit stall. Fuel going in. The story on tires is going to be told here very shortly.
Yeah, we've just seen Brad McCombs in pit road as well. He's put a new front end on that car. He is back out on track again behind. I believe that's Lynn Kopp just ahead of him. So he's fallen back into the GT3A crowd. So he'll be looking to move his way back forward again. Marcus Osborne is trying to battle with Lynn Kopp as well, trying to get that position back again. They've swapped positions once again. And what's the update on Dennis Diaz?
Not seen the car go in the air, but he is still sitting in pit lane for a long time, wondering if he caught a pit entry penalty.
He might have done. That might be a problem there for Dennis Diaz. And we're going to take a look at him entering pit road to see exactly how fast he was, because that could be a big problem for Dennis Diaz if he's got a penalty there.
He now finally brings it out of pit lane. He went a lap down on that exchange.
Now I'm trying to go back to find out where he went into pit road. There we go.
And I did not see that car go up in the air for tires.
He got to slow down before the commitment cone, so he's...
Maybe he made a run to the little driver's room himself, knowing that he was on the back foot and probably not going to be able to get it. But as we were just coming back, Sam, you had mentioned about Bryce Anderson. I was watching him during the break. He was doing a lot of lockups when he was coming to corners, like he was overdriving the car, getting mentally fatigued on that thing. And Tyler Langenberg was able to catch up to him. The only thing that saved Anderson from Langenberg getting around him, I think, was about 4 or 5 lap cars in between them in the slower classes. But it does look to me, if I'm not mistaken, Langenberg has made a pit stop. Anderson hasn't.
And just as you say that, Anderson's just coming in now. Yeah, that'll hand David Lehman the lead. He was in a battle with Nick Terrell. Now Terrell has fallen well off the pace, and I wonder if Terrell's brought it in. I don't think he has. He hasn't. So Terrell,
Lehman brought it in.
Yeah, Lehman's coming in now. Terrell should be the next one, so Anderson should get out in the clear here. That's if Langenberg doesn't pull the overcut on him. Langenberg is coming through the final set of corners now.
Langenberg, he's already pitted, if I'm not mistaken.
He has. He pit about a lap or two ago. So, 1 lap ago.
So that's going to hand your race lead over to Tyler Langenberg with Nick Terrell running behind him.
Yeah, because Anderson's been in pit road for a long, long time now, and here comes Langenberg. He will take the lead away from Bryce Anderson. Anderson might be in with a penalty as well.
Nick Terrell's got the race lead over Tyler Langenberg.
Terrell hasn't pit, though. So, Langenberg now gifted the lead. He's already made his pit stop. He's a healthy gap ahead of Tony Watson, who's in second place, and Terry Koga Jr. through those pit stops has lost position to Tony Watson. So the whole demographic of this field is changing very quickly. That's Ryan Tyler that's just going around as well, and I believe Tyler has made his pit stop. Pretty much the majority, actually all of the GT3A field and the GT3B field have made their pit stops. So while we were away on the commercial break, a lot of people making their pit stops, and they're just figuring themselves out now. Nick Terrell will be the last one to bring it down, but already look at the back of Terrell. Langenberg is right there already.
Yeah, Langenberg is not cutting him any slack whatsoever. As Andrew Neary is right behind them. Andrew Neary's got the best seat in the house for the battle going on. There goes Terrell to pit lane. Langenberg to the lead.
And a very healthy lead, I will say. So Langenberg working that one out to perfection. Bryce Anderson is back out on track after that penalty, gets out in front of Dennis Diaz, who's making his way through lap traffic right now. He's just going around Mark Thomas right now. But what a stroke of genius there by Tyler Langenberg. He's 6.8 seconds clear of Tony Watson right now. Worked that pit stop out, and penalties for Diaz and Anderson worked even more in his favor.
Yeah, I'm going to have to find out, was that a penalty? I don't know what their strategy or what that was, but you do know that they're probably, maybe not. They're right on the edge of being able to make it. Do you think they're going to have to splash and go?
Well, they only did one pit stop last week, so... Oh, is Langenberg getting very close to Mark Dillon Jr. there through the two left-handers. Who gets it done, as there goes Neary to the inside, and Dillon has a spin! Big spin there for Mark Dillon Jr. and gets into the Neary as well.
Go back and take a look at that, yeah. Dillon just cutting it in just a little too soon.
Then Neary, just a victim of circumstance there, just had nowhere to go.
Boy, Mark Dillon Jr. just can't buy it. You know, he runs this league, Pony Express, and they don't have just this series. They've got several other series. And, you know, Mark Dillon Jr. he's the brains behind the whole operation. And I'm going to tell you, I have taken lessons on how to run a league by just watching the way that he's doing his several leagues. But as far as driving in this one, boy, he just can't buy a break.
Yeah, Mackenzie Johnson in pit road from GT3B. That's going to give William Alcala the lead in that class as he's about to get lapped, I believe. That is... I will find out in a second. That's Carl Handwerk just going around him. Actually, that was for track position. That was actually for overall position. Alcala has the lead, but he's in GT3B, but he has not made his pit stop yet. Mackenzie Johnson's still in pit road right there. He did take tyres, and he's just about to come out of pit road right now. Gareth McAllister, who hasn't been down pit road yet. Well, a lot of the GT3B drivers have not been down. Gareth McAllister's not been down yet. Doug Betts has not been down yet. Neither has Dennis Crosby. Zachary Purcell has not been down yet. And neither has the new leader in GT3B, William Alcala.
Boy, we're going to have a huge shakeup in GT3B here in just a little bit.
Yeah. A lot going on right now. Tyler Vickery's had a few off tracks. He is down in P11 in GT3A right now, so not having the best of nights so far. Dallas Sullivan is just a list of retirements right here. Dallas Sullivan, Atticus Middleton, who's still on. Actually, Middleton's still out on track. Dallas Sullivan is out. Steve Santana is out. Timothy Emanuele out. Kelly Boucher out. Thomas Dennis is out, and Oliver Verotniak never even got started. So quite a few retirements already. It's normally what we'd expect here. Is we've got a battle here for second place overall.
Tony Watson. Yep, Tony Watson has it. Tauger Jr. wants it. Tauger all over the back of Watson, just making Watson drive out of that rearview mirror, letting him know, hey, man, I'm here. You slip. I'm there. Who was that they just went around that was in the middle of the track?
I didn't quite see who that was. I think it might have been Mark Dillon Jr. Take a look and see what happened here to Mark Dillon. And there's Ryan Tyler trying to get around him. There is Mackenzie Johnson. And Dillon just ran too far wide. And Tyler and Bramlett got a big piece of that one. So Ryan Tyler's had a problem here. He's got a big hit to the left rear.
Yeah, Ryan Tyler, now that's your class leader in the GT3A division. He does have a pretty big lead over Marcus Osborne. But will that damage slow him down?
We'll soon find out. Marcus Osborne up to second place, and he has made his pit stop, so he is comfortably in second place right now. Great run for him so far here tonight, and this will be his first ever podium in Endurance for Amateur if he can keep hold of it. But it's no change at the moment. Tyler Langenberg still out in a healthy lead over Tony Watson right now, and this battle for second place overall still going on as Terry Calgar Jr. has a little look. Is he going to try and dive it in there? He's probably not got enough room there. He's still going to go for it though, side by side on the exit of the hairpin. Watson has the inside line, almost contact right there and into the second left hander. Calgar has to back out of it.
How many times have we seen the pass happen right there on the outside? Here comes Calgar challenging again. Drag race is on. Calgar to the inside. Calgar to driver's left. Calgar gets around him. Move Calgar up to the second spot.
Yeah, so Calgar up to second. Question is, how can Tony Watson respond to this? We know he's a proven race winner in this league. He's the season 1 GT3 champion, so he knows how to win races. Does the man in the Brumos Porsche, but already Terry Calgar Jr., who just missed out on the season 2 title last season, is already starting to pull away.
Yep, Terry Calgar Jr., he's got 10 seconds he's got to make up to catch Tyler Langenberg. So, but the way Tyler Langenberg's carving traffic right now as he makes his way around Tyler Vickery, I don't know if Calgar's going to be able to catch him.
Oh,
his Vickery goes off into the wall.
Yeah, that's a big hit for Vickery, and that might be the end of his night here tonight. If he can
keep his hands off the keyboard.
Just don't break your chair again this time, as
you know we love you, Tyler.
Yeah, we do. Aaron Claybore right now in a battle with Paul Boyle. Boyle's not having the best of starts to the season so far. Had a very pedestrian run last week, and having another very poor showing here tonight, as that is the Corvette of Terrell just going around and right there. Terrell just trying to negotiate his way through this GT3A traffic as quickly as possible. Terrell not doing too badly. He's up in P9 right now as Tyler Langenberg is back in pit road.
Now, I'm wondering, is this scheduled? Because they don't have enough to make it? We'll see how long he stays. Oh, as he slides through his pit stop again. Okay, fuel going on board. We'll see if he takes tires to see what happens here. I do know that they have an incident limit, but 30X is a lot to get before you got to go serve a penalty.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't hit anything. He's not had an off-track or anything like that, so this is a very unusual situation right now. He goes back out again. I believe he's just taken fuel. So
fuel only. So maybe he needed that because we still got another 40-plus minutes to go to the end of this thing.
42, just under 43 minutes left, as there goes Jimmy Covert just trying to get a lap back off of Langenberg right there. As now, your new leader, Terry Calgar Jr.
Yeah, but Tony Watson is not letting go. You know, Calgar was starting to leg it out a little bit, but Watson's looks like he's catching it back up.
That he is, and we also have a battle between for second place in GT3A. Osborne lost the second place, and now we'll be looking to try and get that back. That is actually Carl Handwork that's got around him. And this is how it happened. We're going to take a quick look back and see how the pass happened. It was Marcus Osborne running wide. Handwork just had the easy job there, just sailing around the inside and taking the position away. But we go back to live pictures now. Osborne just not letting him get away at all.
No. Hard Handwork, you know, he's like, hey, look, you're going to leave the money on the table. I'm going to pick it up and run away with it. And that's what happened. Osborne looks like he might have the car to track him down, but Handwork is starting to leg it out a bit more on him.
Bryce Anderson's back in pit road again.
I do believe, Sam, that they don't have enough fuel to make it to the end.
Which makes
so
me
they
wonder.
needed this spot.
do the likes of Dennis Diaz and everybody else in front of him have enough to make it to the end? We know Langenberg is good to go to the end now, as he's working on the back of Marcus Osborne. Dennis Diaz is behind him as well, but he still, I believe, has to make a pit stop. Tony Watson's starting to close the gap to Terry. Well, actually, he's not. The gap between Watson and Calgary is getting ever bigger now. It's about 1.5 seconds as Calgary's coming into pit road as well.
Yeah, they do need to make an extra stop for fuel in the GTE class. Now, we saw GT3B. Didn't those guys leg it out a lot further than the GTE and the GT3As?
Yeah, they did. The GT3Bs definitely, anyway.
Oh, and that's another thing on the setup is they have a balance of power. They give a power penalty to the GT3Bs, so that's why they're probably getting better fuel economy.
Oh, we've lost Bryce Anderson. Bryce Anderson is out. He's had a connection issue.
Well, he manually disconnected. Oh, my God. He was having the race he wanted to have.
Yeah, well, he didn't. He had that penalty for his first pit stop, so he has decided to call it quits. Sean Adkins now in pit road. That'll let Langenberg back up ahead of him. Kauger, interestingly, though, has got out ahead of Langenberg and by some margin as well. Wow, that is a big overcut.
You need to see how long was Langenberg in the pits versus how long was Kauger in the pits. I think Kauger just short-filled that thing just enough to get him to the end.
He was only in his pit stall for 8 seconds.
He took 8 seconds of fuel to Langenberg's. How many seconds of fuel?
25 seconds.
Yeah, huge undercut right there.
Yeah, so Kauger might have to come back in again to put more fuel in that car, because I don't think he's put enough in.
Well, you know, if he's running a crew chief app for something that's telling him how much fuel he needs to get to the end, that's what it told him to take. That's what he took. We shall see.
Seeing a battle now between Nick Terrell and Curtis Kelly. Kelly's had a good rebound, and he's back up into the top 10 again overall, as he's shadowing the back of that Corvette of Nick Terrell, the 081 good wrench machine, as they are going into the second hairpin right now. I believe that's Daniel Barnett right in front of them. If I can find the if I can find him. Actually, Daniel Barnett's not here tonight. What am I talking about? Oh, that's Keith Roycroft. That's it. I've noticed there's been one glaring omission here from tonight's race. I don't know if you've picked up on it yet.
Oh God! Now you're going to make me engage my brain.
One driver is missing this week, and he was one of the big names there last week.
Oh gosh! All the names that I'm looking at, you're going to have to fill me in.
Paul Skip.
Oh, you're right. Curtis Kelly bringing it in pit side.
Yep, that pink Porsche is in pit road as well now. Atticus Middleton is still in pit road, has been there for quite a long time. Jake Elrod is in pit road as well. As
Jimmy... So does that means Tony Watson and David Lehman are going to have to bring it in?
Well, they will at some point anyway. As we're looking at Tony Watson right now, working on the back of Roger Shank, and Roger Shank not having the race he wanted this week. He's already been caught up in an incident. He's down in P9 in GT3B, and not exactly making it easy for the race leader right now.
No, he is not.
There he goes. And just ahead of Roger Shank is Dave Ferrara, who's had that damage on his car from the get-go here tonight. And Tyler Vickery has put it on the hauler, by the way. So, yeah.
Tyler calling it a night. Speaking of Tyler's, Ryan Tyler still out in front of GT3As. So any damage he may have picked up on that car, you know, when he had that incident, not affecting him.
Not at all. Still out there by quite some margin. He's about 23 seconds ahead of Carl Handwerk, who's really managed to get away from Marcus Osborne. The gap between Handwork and Osborne now 12.5 seconds, and it wasn't that long ago that these two were battling for second place. So either something's happened to Osborne, or Osborne just didn't have the pace compared to Handwork.
No. And Lynn Kopp and Mark Thomas are trying to track down Osborne as quick as they can.
Oh, we've had a big crash here. Oh, a big crash here. That's Andrew Neri against the pit wall with no front end on his car. And let's see what happened. It started with Timothy Bramlett, I think. Now, Bramlett running a bit too far wide out of the final turn into the pit wall. Now, where does Andrew Neri come into this one? And, oh, there it is. Neri trying to take evasive action from Bramlett. Bramlett came back on the track right in front of him, and Neri had nowhere to go.
Yeah, Neri's night's coming to an end, not at his own, by his own doing.
And we're going to... We're going to take a look on board with Andrew Neri. You see it right here. Bramlett just came back on the track, and Neri had to take evasive action, and by no fault of his own, ended up in the pit wall. And that sounds like the engine is completely gone. Black screen on the telemetry. His night is done.
Yeah. Take a look at Tyler Langenberg and who is right on his tail.
Yeah, difference being, though, Langenberg has been down pit road for his second stop. Diaz has not. So this could be a pretty pointless battle if Diaz has to pit again, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
But then again, Lehman and Watson haven't pit either, so this could be a very interesting battle to the end here.
35 minutes to go in this thing. This is where mental fatigue really starts to take its toll. And these guys are sitting there with their calculators out, counting on, fingers, toes, and everything else they can count on, and to see if they're going to make it on fuel.
Mark Herzog just
coming out. Or how much fuel they're going to need.
Yeah, Mark Herzog just coming out of pit road right there, sitting in P10 in his class. As he's got a big wow on the, I believe that was on the left-hand side of the car. No, it's on the right side of the car. As he's recovering from whatever happened to him. Curtis Kelly's had an off-track somewhere. He's back on track again in that car with a big number 71 on it. But, and he's actually closing in on Jimmy Covert for position here. This is a battle that's brewing right now for that 11th spot. We also...
Jimmy Covert not having the race that he was looking to have, that he had going last week. This track totally throwing him in that Corvette for a loop.
Yeah, he's not having it all his own way this time around. As Kelly trying to close in on him very quickly. Oh, he doesn't seem to be very comfortable in that Corvette this week. That back end does not seem to be as planted as that Porsche's right now. As Covert's bringing it in.
A little more neighborhood. Yeah, Covert bringing it in for his stop.
Yeah. So those tires are starting to give up the ghost here. Still waiting for Diaz to bring it down, though. And he's lost a bit of time to Tyler Langenberg here. So I wonder, with him knowing that that pit stop is coming up, Diaz has decided to back off a bit here.
Well, it's not like you can change the fuel mapping on this thing with the setups that they run. So can you stretch it by backing off of it a bit more? Running slower lap times? I couldn't tell you.
Well, it's going to be in vain anyway, because the man that's already made his final pit stop is right ahead of him. So he's not. I think he already knows he's not going to win this anyway. As that is Jake Elrod right in front of Dennis Diaz right here in that McLaren. A very nice Castrol McLaren, I will say. Very reminiscent of the Toyota Supra that they used to have around. I used to run that Castrol Toyota Supra on Gran Turismo all the time. As here comes Dennis Diaz to pit road.
Yeah, Dennis Diaz and the MMW not able to hold it out there any longer. Finally found the bottom of the fuel tank. We'll see how many seconds of fuel that he adds to this thing, because Dennis is not going to take a drop more than he needs.
No, but he also needs to be careful because Sean Atkins has not has completed his pit stops for the night, and he will happily take that position away, and he'll take it away very nicely. And I'm looking at the timer on the pit stop here for Dennis Diaz, as there goes Sean Atkins, and Diaz is taking a full tank here. Dennis Diaz 14 seconds in his pit stall.
Well, that makes me wonder. Langenberg only took 8 seconds of fuel. Does he have enough? 8 seconds. Or Calgar? Does Calgar have enough?
Well, we'll soon find out, as he's not too far behind Watson and Lehman, so he'll take over the lead once those two do come down pit road, and it doesn't look like they're coming down anytime soon, so it'd be very interesting to see if Calgar can continue, as I just saw, I believe that was, oh my god, my brain. Zachary Purcell bringing it down pit road. My brain just went blank there. Mackenzie Johnson still in 5th place in GT3B, but he's been by far the fastest driver in that class all night long, other than Mark Dillon Jr., as Johnson will now move his way up to P4. Now, he knows that everybody else ahead of him, Byron, still has to pit one more time. Oh, still has to pit. Actually, Nürnberger does not have to pit, actually. So Nürnberger, he needs to catch up to Nürnberger, if anything.
Yeah, but you know what? We've seen, Mackenzie Johnson has the pace to do it, though.
Yep, as the leader from GT3B comes in, that's William Alcala. We'll find out and see if Alcala does take tyres here, because I'm pretty sure Mackenzie Johnson took tyres. I think Zachary Purcell did. He was 36 seconds in his stall. Now, I know it does take a bit longer to fuel the GT3 cars compared to the GT3, the GTE cars, as there goes Tony Watson flashing by. Lehman just coming out of the final turn. Now, Diaz came back out of pit road behind Sean Atkins and Brad McCombs. McCombs still has to make one more pit stop. Atkins does not. So you got to think right here, Byron, that the highest Dennis Diaz can get up to at the moment is P6.
Yeah, Dennis Diaz is his normal, post-race interview slot is going to be taken tonight by the looks of things.
Yep.
Who it's going to be taken by is still up for grabs, as I got my eyes on William Alcala. He's still in the pits.
He is still in the pits.
He is just now exiting the pits. I did not see tires go on that car.
He was in there for 59 seconds, so you got to assume he did take tires.
I didn't see the car go up on the jacks.
Oh, right, okay.
Unless iRacing changed that, so...
Gareth McAllister's in pit road as well, so he's taken his pit stop finally. So it proves that the GT3 cars can get to the end of one pit stop, so that's good for them. So Zachary Nürnberger has the overall lead now by quite some margin over Mackenzie Johnson, and if they don't have to go, actually Nürnberger was only in his box for 29 seconds, so ooh, that's probably why Mackenzie Johnson was in his pit stall for over a minute. So Nürnberger, by taking the faster pit stop here and getting it absolutely right, able to get out with quite a big lead in that Mercedes.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's the difference of tires versus no tires. And by not taking tires, yeah, you're going to run slower lap times because the goodies wore off the tire. You're losing grip. But when you have that much of a lead, you can run a slower lap time. The other guy's got to burn his stuff up to try and catch you.
Well, he does. As Nürnberger out to a 17-second lead over Johnson. So we'll keep an eye on that one and see how that one works. Ryan Tyler, meanwhile, not so much problems for him, as he's got a 24 second lead over Carl Handwerk. Tony Watson is nowhere near out of the woods right yet. He still has to bring it down for another pit stop. Same for David Lehman, and it's still up in the air as to whether Terry Calgar Jr. can make it to the end right now, as it looks like the fog has lifted somewhat.
Yeah, finally.
So, fog looking a lot better. We can see the cars a bit more. It's only taken over an hour.
Yeah, I can actually see from the blimp now.
Yeah, as Diaz is right on the back of Brad McCombs now. This is a battle for P6 at the moment. They are a full 5 seconds off the back of Sean Atkins. They've got to negotiate their way around Mark Dillon Jr. first before they can actually start attacking each other. So McCombs still staying ahead for now in that number 23 BMW. The stars and stripes adorning in that car. And then you've got the BMW right behind him. And this is a battle. I know we're surprised to see Diaz down this far. We're not used to seeing him battle for the likes of P6 at this point.
No, but you know what? Everyone's going to have a bad race every now and then. You can't win them all. You're not going to win them all because luck has a lot to do with this.
Yeah, it does.
Boy, McCombs is really pushing that car, trying to stay in front of Diaz. You see him step that rear end out on that corner?
Yeah, these two normally teammates when it comes to the endurance team, when it comes to endurance racing, but competitors when it comes to this league, as Diaz capitalizing on that little wiggle from Brad McCombs and taking that 6th spot away. Now, Diaz will set his sights on the back of Sean Atkins, who's about 6 seconds up the road.
Oh, Mackenzie might have enough time.
Mackenzie Johnson's around. Big incident for Mackenzie Johnson. And that is not what you want to see from a person who's dominated most of the race in GT3B.
No, he's going to give up some time to Zachary Nurnberger, but he's still got a lot of space between him and William Alcala.
Well, he's had 2 incidents here. First one was on the exit of the final turn, smacking that inside wall after taking too much of the final corner. And then he crashed again a few corners later. Coming down, I believe.
Oh, loses it again just now.
He's just not having. Back end coming around. And Mackenzie Johnson is all falling apart for the opposing express driver.
Yeah, well, how many times have we said it, man? Mental fatigue at the end of these things. Mental fatigue. But let's talk about mental toughness, and we'll stay in the GT3B class. Look where Mark Dillon Jr. is.
Yeah.
After the problems that he had, as Mackenzie brings it pit side.
Now Mackenzie Johnson going to bring a pit road to take that fast repair, but Mark Dillon Jr. has gone through the adversity, has been taken through the ringer here tonight, and is back up to 3rd place in GT3B, and is not that far from William Alcala either. He's only 3 seconds back.
Yep. Mackenzie Johnson bringing it out of the pits. So it does look like he saved that fast repair in the back, in his back hip pocket.
Yeah. So Mackenzie Johnson will rejoin in P5 though. Zachary Purcell is quite a ways up the road in that Braun Mercedes. So, with 22 and a half minutes left, the big question of the night is, when is Tony Watson going to bring it to pit road?
Yeah, and the second $64,000 question, does Terry Calgar Jr. have enough fuel?
Well, we'll soon find out, as old Doug Betts has had a big incident. He's had a crash as well. Let's take a look and see what happened to him. And again, Doug Betts, up until now, has had a very quiet race, as we're looking at the incident for him. And as Timothy Bramlett just diving it in there, and just in front of him, that was the Corvette of Derek Sherman, just getting it all wrong, and Betts just running to the back of him. As old Mackenzie Johnson's had another incident here, and that will have ended his night. And just went straight off the track. And
Yeah, he's went ahead and hit the old Alt F4.
Yeah.
Put it on the hauler.
That's unfortunate for Mackenzie Johnson because he was having such a great run tonight. He was doing so well. Let's go back to the race leader, Tony Watson.
Zachary Purcell got around right in front of David Lehman.
Oh, so Lehman almost getting collected on his. And it's hard to believe that this is Lehman's debut, by the way. In second place, a good 7 seconds ahead of Terry Cowger Jr. Albeit 12 almost 13 seconds off the back of Watson, but Lehman's having a great run here tonight.
Yeah, he is, but these guys, you got to wonder, man, how much fuel they got in the tank.
Well, I think the worst he can come out of, if he's going in for a splash and go, the worst he's going to drop to, I believe, is going to be P4. So this is going to be great for Lehman right now. As he goes around Keith Roycroft. About 20 minutes left in this race. That means we're going to take one small final commercial break of the night, and then we will bring you the last 15 minutes or so of the race. Don't go anywhere. We've got the rest of this one coming up for you, and it's going to get more exciting. And we're back for the last few minutes, last 15 or so minutes of the race. And Byron, we've seen an incident for Tony Watson. What did you see?
Tony Watson just getting it all wrong in the corner, got himself off into the gravel. Looked like the tires kind of giving up on him, but he took a pit side. We knew he was going to have to go and get another pit stop or at least fuel. You're the one that's going to be able to tell me how long he was there. He gets it wrong again. Those tires are toast.
Yeah, he is struggling. Gets it all wrong through the uphill section in the final part of this course. As you see Curtis Kelly in the distance there, just getting around. Well, I thought that was Jake Elrod, but it's not. It's Doug Betts. Yeah, but Tony Watson's struggling. Crucially, though, he's out ahead of Sean Atkins and he's out ahead of Dennis Diaz. So. And Diaz still not closing that gap to Sean Atkins, though. The gap's still holding at 4.5 seconds.
Yeah, well, Sean Atkins is not no slouch behind the wheel. Let me tell you, flat out, that guy can wheel a car. David Lehman's got this race lead because we saw Tony Watson had to bring it in pit side to get a splash of fuel. How long can Lehman hang it out there? And did Calgary get enough fuel in it when he came in on his stop? Langenberg's in a strong third spot. So, yeah, the outcome for GTE still needs to be decided big time. GT3A, Ryan Tyler still way out in control. Carl Handwerk, my God, that guy has just impressed me for his maiden voyage here at E4A. And if you go back down to the GT3B, Zachary Nurnberger, he's got that race lead, pretty good margin over William Alcala, who's running second. And, you know, my driver of the night vote right now, if it finishes in the next couple of minutes, is going to go to Mark Dillon Jr. because we saw him on lap 1 go to the back of the field. He is stuck with it and has got himself back up into P3 in class.
Well, my vote for driver of the night will be this man, David Lehman, on his debut with the series, and is possibly on course for a win here tonight. We still don't know if he's going to bring it in pit road, but we'll get that figured out. If he can keep it out there, and if he can get that car to the end, then that will be one heck of a debut, one hell of a drive there for David Lehman.
Yeah, but, you know, he's got to take this thing he's got a 9-second lead over Calgary Jr., but does he have enough fuel to keep it out on the track for another 13 minutes?
As we've got Brad McCombs in pit road for his final stop. And Calgary is about to put a lap on McCombs, but the question's still hanging in the balance. And Calgary, by the way, is closing the gap on Lehman. The gap is now at 7.5 seconds. We still don't know if he's got enough. We keep asking that question. We'll find an answer out in about just under 13 minutes, but it's very, very touch and go. Mackenzie Johnson's been in the chat, by the way. He says, first my bladder cost me extra time in the pits. Then I can't break into that right-hander. Gotta love sim racing. And he goes, I have to catch a break at some point, right? Yeah, you do. If you keep going like you are going in GT3B, you'll get that race win eventually, dude. I mean, you put on one heck of a show before that happened tonight.
That car was flying tonight.
Yeah. Ryan Tyler in pit road for his second stop now. This is interesting.
David Lehman caught in a mess of lap traffic right now, losing big time to Calgary Jr.
There he is. That is McCombs and Terrell. They're fighting for position right in front of him. I don't think they're going to let him by that easily if they're fighting for position right now, but you got to think that Lehman must be absolutely screaming at these guys, just saying, let me pass. I've got a very fast Terry Calgary Jr. bearing down on me right now.
Yeah, a very fast Terry Calgary Jr. with more fuel than I've got.
Yeah. Well, actually, no. Well, yeah, true, yeah, because there's Terry Calgary Jr. just come out in the final turn there, so Lehman needs to get a move on here. Needs to be more aggressive with these guys as he's going to make his way around Mark Thomas. Around the outside, and Thomas, I believe, is teammates with Carl Handwerk, as Timothy Bramlett has been in pit road. Ryan Tyler is back out of pit road. That's going to give the lead of GT3A over to Carl Handwerk. Now, this has asked us another question here, Byron. Can Handwerk make it to the end now?
Yeah, well, I never thought we were going to see one of these races turn into a fuel strategy race, but just when we think we've seen everything with this bunch, they throw us some more curveballs.
That's what we love to see. This is absolutely what we love to see here as Handwerk comes out of the final turn here. Now in that final two turns. Now, Handwerk, does he have enough to make it to the end? He does have Ryan Tyler right on his tail right now. This could be a straight race to the end, or it could be a case of Handwerk's going to have to tiptoe that car back to the, well, try and make it to the end here on the fuel he's got. Ryan Tyler knows he can make it to the end because he's just pit.
And Lehman has to bring a pit side.
He does, and he's in right now. That's going to hand the lead of the race over to Terry Cowger Jr. And now that leaves us with that final question. Does Cowger have enough?
Well, we're going to find out in 10 minutes. Has he got 10 more minutes in that fuel tank? I don't know. You said he was only in the pit lane for 8 seconds of fuel when he stopped, and that was, God, ages ago.
Yeah. Look at this for Lehman. He's going to come out of pit road way ahead of Tony Watson. And he is, well, he might have lost the win there, David Lehman, but he's odds on for a podium here. What a result there for your debut.
Yep, Tyler Langenberg, he has got to hammer down. He's got a 10-second deficit to the leader, Cowger Jr. But like you said, the question is, can Cowger Jr. make it on fuel? The question, GT3A, can Handwerk make it on fuel? We don't know. We're about to find out. Zachary Nurnberger, well, he's got a pretty good commanding lead over William Alcala.
That he does.
I think that's pretty much sorted out.
And Mark Dillon Jr., he's, something's happened to him because he's now 22 seconds behind Alcala. And I can't see anything that's happened to him, so I'm guessing Dillon's decided to back off. He's thinking, I've had a tough enough race, I just need to finish where I am right now. I'm happy where I am.
Yep. I'll hold serve, hold position, take the bottom step on the podium. It's the podium all the same.
Yeah, as there goes Langenberg trying to make his way around. And Marcus Osborne in pit road for a stop as well. That's promoted Mark Thomas up to third place. And yeah, I've noticed Mark Thomas and Carl Handwerk are running very similar paint schemes, just different colours. I wonder if they're teammates.
Well, be able to ask when the race is over if things stay status quo.
Yeah, we will find out eventually. That'll be the question we'll ask to Carl Handwerk at the end of the race. But with about 7 minutes left in, Terry Cowger Jr. is starting to lose time to Tyler Langenberg. Because Cowger trying to make his way around Mark Thomas right now. Langenberg is closing in. The gap is about 9.1 seconds now, actually.
Yeah, well, you know, Cowger's in a bad spot on the track to try and pass somebody in this technical spot.
There he is. Porsche on Porsche crime right here. As Mark Thomas not making it easy for Cowger as they come through the final turn. Cowger right on his bumper. We'll get him here, but Cowger won't be happy with the amount of time he's lost to Langenberg. The gap now 8.5 seconds.
Yeah, Langenberg got clear track in front of him for a ways. He's elbows up, pushing that Corvette all he can.
Yep. As we go back to the battle for GT3A honours, and it's Handwerk versus Tyler still. And Mark Hertog is right in front of them right now. And you've got to think Handwerk can make it from here, but can he hold off Ryan Tyler? Tyler is right on his tail now. Oh no! Handwerk gets it all wrong! And there goes Tyler sailing by.
Man, Handwork went to go make the pass, did not have the clear. How he kept that car straight, I don't know.
Handwork's bringing
But
it in.
Hardwick, he has to come into pit anyway.
Yeah, Handwork is in. That's going to give second place over to, I believe, his teammate, Mark Thomas. As there is Thomas just coming through the left-hander up the hill towards the final part of the track. As we're coming up to 5 minutes to go. It is absolutely that close. And Thomas is in as well. That's going to give second place to Marcus Osborne now.
Yeah, Carl
Oh no, Handwork is out. Handwork's out.
He just stopped, splash, gone.
Yeah, that's what's happened to David Lehman as well. And he's a full 18 seconds ahead of Tony Watson now. That is a brilliant run. Langenberg in second place. Kauger, the gap is 8.1 seconds now. So Langenberg, even though Kauger is in clear traffic now, still gaining time on the race leader.
Yeah, Kauger, you got to wonder if he's backed off it a little bit to try and make a fuel number. It's going to be tight if you ask me. It's going to be a heartbreak for Kauger. How many times have we seen him, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And if he has to come in for another splash, how much of a heartbreak would that be for the pilot of the 911 Porn?
Well, all I can say is that Tyler Langenberg won't mind. He'll happily take that win away. Kauger had the biggest heartbreak of all last season when he had to relinquish the title to Dennis Diaz in the final 2 rounds. Well, actually in the final round, because of the drop weeks came in and he was put behind in that final race and it just didn't work out for him. As Gareth McAllister has had an incident. Let's take a look and see what happened to him in the number 25 Lamborghini. He had Curtis Kelly right behind him, and Kelly just punted him off the track right there.
Yeah, mental fatigue time. We're right here at the closing stages. Kauger's, I think Kauger's like, he's on full send it mode right now as far as, I'm not coming for fuel. He's coming home, with the trophy or on the back end of a tow truck. One of the two.
Well, he's got 7.3 seconds ahead of Langenberg, so it's a good enough gap. We've got a battle here between... Actually, Sean Atkins has gone around Tony Watson here. So Atkins has moved up to P4 now.
Boy, Atkins driving like he's on a mission. Tony Watson, I think, has just burned the tires off of that thing. Whoa! Take that back. Oh! Tony Watson thought he was going to get around Sean Atkins in the gravel. And Tony Watson into the side of Mark Thomas. But Tony Watson comes out the best of it. He's out in front of Atkins again.
Take another look at that one as they come down to the hairpin. You saw Atkins go around Mark Thomas. Tony Watson just dove in there a bit too far. And look at go sneaking by on the inside. Dennis Diaz just saying thank you very much.
Yeah.
The Diaz going to get some decent points out of this one at the behest of Watson and Atkins, who are both together again on track. We've got just under 2 minutes left of this race, and you know what? I think Kauger can make it from here now.
Well, that's still, in my mind, a question. But he's got, 6 seconds. He could back 2 seconds a lap off for fuel savings. Hell, he could clutch it down the corners if he had to. But still, do you have enough to get there?
Well, we'll soon find out. This is a carbon copy of Daytona because I know you weren't there for the Daytona broadcast, but that was the last time Dennis Diaz had a poor race, and Kauger won that race, and it's pretty much the same situation this time around as well.
Yeah, well, Kauger's a big fan of anyone that gets in the way among Mr. Dennis Diaz, because he does good when Dennis does bad. Just we don't often see Dennis do bad.
White flag out this time, but it looks like Kauga can make it as Barney the flagman waves the white flag in earnest. And we are going to come to the final lap of this race as Kauga negotiates his way through turn one. The gap is 5.3 seconds between himself and Tyler Langenberg. And it looks like Kauga can make it from here. As we go to David Lehman, very much all on his own in third place. Very good for him. He's got a very good gap over this man, Dennis Diaz, who had that spin and then had that super long pit stop. We're guessing with the penalty, which put him back as far as he did, but still able to get back up to P4. But we've still got this battle going on between Tony Watson and Sean Atkins right here, Byron.
Yeah, Tony Watson and Sean Atkins, they've been throwing haymakers at each other for the past few laps. As here we go, there goes the move. Atkins around Watson.
Watson and Atkins gets it. Good move there by Atkins. We're going to focus in, though, on the man of the moment, though. And this is the man of the moment right there. We thought he couldn't make it because of the pit stops that he made. Only 8 seconds on his second stop, but it worked out absolutely perfect for him, and he's come out on top in this one. He comes through the final corner right now. Terry Kauga Jr. will cross the line and will win at Okayama, and that will be a fantastic result for him right there in that 911 Porsche. Tyler Langenberg will come across the line. He will claim second place in GTE, his highest finish of his E4A career so far. What a result for him. And David Lehman on his debut with third place on the podium. Brilliant for him there tonight.
Yeah, going back to take a look at GT3A, Ryan Tyler, he has just been a monster on the track. Got out in front, had a little bit of adversity, still didn't matter. He held that lead once he got it. He is way out into the front. Got our eyes on him as he makes his way around the final few corners here.
He's got the GT3B winner right behind him as well.
Yeah, Zachary Nuremberger right behind him. We're going to get a twofer. We're going to get these two classes in, one right behind the other. That makes it pretty convenient.
Yeah, as they come through the second to last corner and the final corner. And that makes it 2 from 2 for Ryan Tyler. He comes across the line and wins in GT3A. And for the first time this season, Zachary Nuremberger will win in GT3B. Carl Hanwerk crossed the line. He's second in GT3A. And William Alcala, he'll claim second place in GT3B. So, good result for him, and he was using pit strategy to his advantage. He was out there for a very long time before making his one and only pit stop, but big congratulations to going out to all three class winners here tonight.
Yep, that was, wow. What can I say? I mean, technical track, slow speed corners, nowhere really to get a rest on this thing. Terry Kauga Jr., masterful, just keeping it. You don't have to be the fastest, but you be the most consistent. Consistency paid off.
That it is, and we're going to go straight to the interviews for tonight's race. And Terry is going to be joined by Byron Rodney right now. Byron, you have the race winner with you right now.
Okay, I got a couple of questions for the bride. Finally, you've been the bridesmaid how many times? Now you're the bride. You won the race. You know, your last pit stop, we watched it. We broadcast it. We counted the time you spent. Only 8 seconds of fuel, and we were wondering, oh, my God, did he short pit that? Too short. You got to answer before you say anything about the race. How close were you?
I still had 1.5 laps I could go.
You counted your fingers and toes for that one. You did good, my friend. Congratulations, you got the victory.
Thank you. That was a hard fought one for sure. Oh man.
Got a little sweat on the brow right now?
Just a little bit, yes. It's that is not an easy track to say the least.
Sam brought up, it's just like Daytona. When Dennis Diaz has a bad race, I don't know what happened. He caught a penalty or something. long pit stop, had to go to the little driver's room. I don't know, but he had a rough race when he spun it and went way back. That means Terry Calgar Jr. is going to have a good race because last time he had problems, you won a race just like this one.
Yeah, apparently so. I need him to have those more often. I know he got a slow down earlier, and then he got an unsafe pit entry after his pit stop, so that threw him 40 seconds back. So after that, it was stick to my strategy and hoped it worked.
Well, you had Tyler Langenberg just charging like crazy, elbows up behind you. Were you worried at any point? Because that delta was getting close.
I was. I don't know if he took tires, but I was trying to save my tires and do a no tire stop, or no tire race, I should say. And I barely, the last couple laps, it was getting rough.
Yeah, well, last couple of laps, it could be rough all at once. You still crossed the line first. Congratulations. Anyone you want to shout out to before you go celebrate this win, bud?
Thank you. Yeah, you guys for this broadcast, Mark, Zach, everybody that puts Sean as well, that has anything to do with this league, puts the league on. My wife for letting me have a crazy hobby. She's been really good because I've had multiples over the years. She's been a good sport about it. And anybody else I have watching, I know my dad will be watching tomorrow. So,
well, your dad's going to watch you take the victory tomorrow, man. Congratulations on the win. Moving on, your thoughts going next week?
I hate Sonoma.
Wait a minute. Did I hear the right? Sonoma?
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Sam,
Sonoma.
I might not be in the booth.
Okay.
No, just kidding. I'll be in the booth.
No, I shouldn't say that I hate Sonoma. The only time on the service that I've tried driving it is in GT4s. So, and I know this is a totally different car. So,
well, my only league victory came in a stock car on that track. Sonoma is my home track, original home track. It's the track I've actually driven a real car around at a driving school from Celine Mustang, and I'll tell you what, I love that track. The elevation changes, the technicality of it. You're going to have fun. You're going to do well.
Yeah, I hope so. I'll get it figured out. So, or at least as best I can, and hope Dennis.
Well, if you want any pointers, I'm the guy to talk to. I know that track very well.
And I may take you up on that.
All righty, that's your race winner, everyone. The pilot of the 911 Porsche, Terry Calgar Jr.
Yep, that was Terry Calgar joining us from first place. Now joining myself from second place is a man we've not spoken to yet before, but Tyler, congratulations on getting second place here tonight. Very hard, very well fought there. After the disappointment last week, this one has got to be put a big smile on your face.
Yeah. I was hoping that strategy would work out in my favor, which it kind of did. I was hoping for the win today, but really late in my last run, rear tires wore out a lot. So, yeah, but good racing today, though. That's all I can ask for.
Yeah, it was a brilliant run from yourself, and obviously, you still kept it on the track though, unlike last week. I mean, you were even catching Terry at the end there. Did you feel like if you had a bit more time, you might have been able to catch him?
Yes and no. If I had fresh tires, yes being fresh tires, no being my tires were dead at the end of that stint. So, if it were even, I feel like I would have a chance.
Absolutely. Well, it was a good run from yourself, and good to see that Corvette finally make it onto the podium. It was a very fast. It finally got that podium. Well, a second place at least, anyway. That's got to give you a lot of confidence with the season going forward, right?
Yeah. This was a good points haul today regarding the championship. I don't know what position I would be in.
I can tell you that right now. I've tallied the points on my thing, and you are now in third in the points. So,
cool.
So that's worked out for you. But next week we have just as much of a tough test. We head off to the great state of California and the infamous Sonoma track. What are your thoughts heading into that one?
I like Sonoma. Of course, traffic's gonna be an issue there as well. Probably a little more than it was today, but I'm up for it.
Yeah, absolutely should be fun as always. But before I let you go, Tyler, who's responsible for bringing that Corvette to second place? Who do you want to give a shout out to?
I'll give a shout out to all the guys back at D-Line. Shout out to Alio. Thank you for helping me develop thank you for helping me develop as a driver. And yeah, that's really all I got to thank right now.
All right. Well, Tyler Langenberg in the Corvette coming up in second place. Congratulations for yourself, and we'll catch you next week when we head to Sonoma.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
That was Tyler Langenberg joining us from second place. Now joining Byron from Victory Lane for the second week in a row, Mr. Ryan Tyler.
Mr. Ryan Tyler, the pilot of the 701 machine. Dude, you kind of put a spanking on the GT3A field tonight. I seen you had a little bit of adversity, lost a little bit of time, but you still held on to that lead. Tell me about your race here in Japan.
Perfect race, guys. I didn't really have any issues, kept it consistent, and yeah, it was a good race. I had a bit of pressure from Carl at the start, I think first 10 laps or so, but seemed to keep myself consistent and just, keep on crawling at that lead.
Yeah, well, we've said it so many times. You don't have to be the fastest car in an endurance race, but you need to be the most consistent, and that you were, man. You had a handle on this track. Talk to me. I mean, your strategy, and how did the tires hold up on these tight turns? Because I noticed those are a lot of low-speed corners.
Wasn't too bad as I was expecting. I thought Mosport was a little bit trickier on the tires. I just took two fronts on the first stop. They were down to like 66% on the front left. But I was able to run 129 and 0.5s consistently on old tires, so it wasn't so bad this week.
Well, this week's in the books. You notched a win, another trophy. Next week, we're moving on to the wine country of Northern California and the Bay Area and Sonoma. What's your thoughts going there?
Gonna be tricky. Sonoma's not forgiving. If you have a little off there, you're gonna hit the wall and you're gonna have some issues. And I think traffic's gonna be a little bit more of an issue next week.
Yeah, well, I don't think there's such a thing as a little off at Sonoma. Those are all big offs. But
That's right.
yeah, it's a tight track. It's a narrow racing surface, massive elevation changes, and one giant hairpin at the end. You get to the top of the gearbox at the end of that run, you got to get all the way down to the first gear and almost crawl around that corner. I'm looking forward to see how you guys handle that, man. Anyone you want to shout out to before we let you go celebrate your victory?
I'll give a shout out to our mum. I know she'll be watching tomorrow in the UK. And yeah, for everyone on the league, it was a good race, you guys, and yeah, on to next week.
Well, on to next week, man. Excuse me. You make it look easy. You make it enjoyable from a broadcaster's view. Congratulations on the victory. That's the winning driver of the GT3A class, Ryan Tyler.
Thanks, guys.
That was Ryan Tyler joining us from the winner's circle in GT3A. Now joining myself from second place is a man we've not spoken to before again, and making his debut tonight, Carl Handwerk. Second place on your debut. Can't be too displeased.
No. I mean, I did what I could to kind of keep the pressure on Ryan in the beginning there, and just a couple early mistakes kind of smoked the tires a bit and made it real difficult to kind of hang with him a while. But I mean, yeah, first time out here and not getting probably enough practice. I'll definitely take a second place.
Yeah, and let's talk about that bit at the end of the race there. Obviously, you knew you had to make a pit stop. You were trying to keep Ryan Tyler behind you. Were you just trying to limit the damage after you made that pit stop? Because it looked like obviously you knew you had to make that pit stop. You're trying to get around one of the back markers, but obviously it didn't work out for you there.
Yeah, I don't know what the case was there. He told me to go to the inside, and I thought he was going to back off, and he didn't. But it happens. I mean, it's close, tight quarters. This isn't exactly the widest track. So those kind of things happen. You brush up against people, but yeah, I knew I was going to make another pit stop there, and I was hoping that maybe I could maybe fake him out a little bit and think that that I was good to go on fuel and I could make it to the end and maybe kind of pressure him into a mistake. But eventually I just had to duck in there, take the 3 gallons and roll out.
Yeah, absolutely. But talk about the car out there. A lot of people losing the back end through certain corners, probably taking the corners a bit too aggressively. How do you feel you did out there? How was the car out there? Did it feel okay to you out there?
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, this is to me, this is one of those tracks where you kind of really have to hit your marks, and you have to hit your marks with the correct amount of speed too, or yeah, it's gonna either really push on you, or you get the wrong amount of throttle, wrong amount of brake, and it's gonna want to snap on you a little bit. And especially after that first pit stop, taking the front tires, that first lap was sketchy to say the least. I mean, anytime I looked at the brakes the wrong way, and the back end just wanted to chase around and become the front.
Absolutely. Well, next week we go from one tricky track to another one. We head to California and Sonoma. What are your thoughts heading into that one for your second race with the league?
Well, I mean, this one there's plenty of opportunities, even though it's not the widest track. There's plenty of opportunities to pass. You got some nice straightaways heading into some good braking zones. At Sonoma, I mean, other than the hairpin, it's going to be tough, I think, to pass. So, not only in class, but dealing with excuse me, the GT3B cars and having the GTEs come up on you, it's going to be tough with traffic, I think. So I think track position is going to be key. So getting a good qualifying spot is going to be prime.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on the second place here tonight, Carl. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to? Who's responsible for bringing that Porsche to second place here tonight?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to my teammate Mark Thomas, all the boys over at the Core Racing League. I want to shout out to Joker Graphics for the awesome paint scheme that he has for us. Also want to give a heartfelt shout out to Sean Goodwin and his family. They lost a member of their family, Maxine. So rest in peace to her, and thoughts and prayers to them.
All right. Well, Carl Handwerk, congratulations one more time. Great second place on your debut here tonight. Go off and get some rest, and we'll catch you next week when we head to California.
Thanks, boys.
That was Carl Handwerk joining us from second place in GT3A. Now we're off to GT3B, where Byron is waiting with the winner, Zachary Langenberg.
Oh, man. You know what? You started third in class. Had some things happen all around this track. You wound up bringing it home in the top spot. Tell me about your experience here in Japan, my friend.
Yeah, it was a fun one. Unfortunately, did it probably a little bit too much style at the end of the race there. Couldn't see over my hood, but luckily we brought her around. But yeah, I know I got lucky. William trying to do the first, second gear trick in the pits, and got caught the speeding penalty. Mac having some issues, and keep it clean and consistent, and look where I am.
Yep. Well, yeah, look where you're at. You're at the top spot of the podium in class. You got a trophy out of it. You know what? Tell me about your experience with Okayama. We started off in the fog. Was the track, did it get any slicker as the fog burned off and the temperature come up?
I think it actually got a little bit smoother. I've had some experience running in the fog, and I know it was like 98% humidity, so it was pretty slick. But I mean, I've raced the Nordschleife there before, and that's obviously a treacherous track. So when I saw it, I knew it was something maybe I could take to my advantage. And really, the track seemed to get better, but it was actually my rear tires. My first stint, I think they were down to the 90s, but they were down by 65. And I think that was really the limiting factor. It was definitely something I didn't see coming, but no, I think the fog actually kind of helped at the beginning.
Good deal. We're going from one foggy place to another place that can collect a lot of fog. Trust me, I know. I've been there. Crossing the Pacific Ocean, going to just north of San Francisco, the Sonoma wine country. At the used to be Sears Point. We call it Sonoma now. What's your thoughts going there?
Yeah, definitely interested to go back there. I mean, I could not tell you the last time I ran it. Probably, I think, because it used to go by Infineon Raceway. Probably back in like 2000, like NASCAR Thunder 2006 or something like that. So this is going to be a little bit different. But yeah, definitely be interested in it. I know there's a lot of elevation changes there. There's definitely a mixed opinion, I believe, from all the drivers, but definitely one of those. I'm just gonna see what happens. I guess not too high in expectations, and see if I can just keep it clean.
Yeah, well, it's a tough track to do it at. There is no such thing as a little off. You get off track there, you're going for a big ride. But you
That's
know
right.
what? It's got some fast corners. It's got some technical parts. You're not going to get a break there at all. But we look forward to seeing you guys run there. Before we let you go celebrate your trophy, man, anyone you want to shout out to?
Yeah, just shout out to Mark Dillon Jr. for putting this whole thing out, as well as my Pony Express teammates. So we've been putting a lot of practice in, and I know Mark's been busy behind the scenes, is running with everything, and it's awesome to see this league grow and to have you guys alongside us all these seasons, and looking forward to continuing.
No, we're looking forward to continuing it with you, man. You guys make our jobs easy and exciting. It was a great race to watch. That's your race winner in GT3B class, everyone. Pilot of the number 32 machine, Mr. Zachary Nurnberger.
Thank you, guys.
That was Zachary Langenberg joining us from first place in GT3B. Now let's go to a man that we've really put on a great show here tonight. William Alcala. William, second place here tonight. Really using fuel strategy to your advantage. Got to be happy with that one tonight.
Oh, I'm absolutely ecstatic. I think this is my third time racing here, or racing with Pony Express, and whew, it was a race, man. You really don't understand how long 100 minutes is until you've actually driven 100 minutes straight. And on paper, it doesn't look that much, but it was a really fun race. And yeah, field strategy definitely helped me out. It's a dang shame. I was trying to do the first second gear trick in pit road, and it caught me speeding. And I was going to take fuel and go because I didn't take any tires, but I got nabbed with a 40-second hold penalty, and that's what ultimately gave up my win.
Yeah, and well, fortunately for that one, you still came out in a good spot because obviously Mackenzie Johnson had the problems he had and fell by the wayside, and other drivers as well. Mark Dillon Jr. falling by the wayside too. Promoted you back up to second, so the penalty pretty much insignificant though. If you didn't have the penalty though, would you reckon you might have had the win in the bag here tonight?
Looking at the time splits at how far I came out behind first place, I probably would have came out about maybe 10 seconds in front. So I think I still would have came out in the lead because he only took one tire, I believe. He only took a left front. So I still would have came out 10 seconds, but you know, who knows what would have happened if he could have, run me down, or lap traffic could have gotten an issue, or being lapped, I'm sorry, because we're the slowest class. So it would have been close. It would have been exciting to see for sure. But I mean, I would like to think that I'd be able to hold him off for a win.
All right. Well, next week we get things a bit more difficult. I'm not sure if you're going to be there, but we're off to wine country in Northern California. We're off to Sonoma. Are you going to be there for that one next week?
Oh, absolutely. I grew up in Northern California, not that far south of Northern California, more towards like the Oregon border. But growing up, I loved watching when it was called Sears Point back in the day. That was like one of my favorite races to catch on the NASCAR circuit because
Oh,
it was
I
kind of
never
like,
missed. I attended every NASCAR race there except for 2 years ago after I moved from California to Ohio.
oh wow, yeah. I'm kind of upset about my parents still because they went to go see the '98 race, and they could have taken little 3-year-old me, but they decided not to. And I love NASCAR, but yeah, I love that track. It's a really good, fun track, very technical, very difficult. One of those rhythm and momentum tracks for sure. So I'll definitely be there next week. I can't wait to see how well I fare against these drivers in the GT3B class.
Yeah, absolutely. And you put the rest of the GT3B field on notice here tonight with this second place of tonight, especially with your fuel strategy game. So definitely going to be looking forward to that one next week. Congratulations on the second place, William. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to who's responsible for bringing that Mercedes to second place here tonight?
Well, I want to shout out to the admins for putting this on. I'm not really too close with them or any of the drivers. I hope to be the more I race with these guys. Thanks to you guys for broadcasting this. I can't wait to go back and watch. I watched some of your broadcasts in the past before, and I gotta really commend you on your guys' enthusiasm. It makes it a lot more enjoyable to watch. That's for sure. And shout out my wife. She lets me focus on this. It's kind of like my hobby. It's essentially kind of like my side job. And she supports me in it, and she lets me race as long as I just give her heads up. Hey, I have a race tonight, and she lets me do it. So that's a big inspiration that she can just let me do my thing and improve on my racecraft.
All right. Well, thanks for the kind words there. The performance you guys put out on track makes our jobs a heck of a lot easier. So we're as long as you guys are happy to keep on putting the shows, we're happy to keep on putting on the races. So good job from yourself tonight, Will. Go and get some rest, and we'll catch you next week when we head to Sonoma.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
That was William Alcala, and another few kind words from one of the drivers. And it's always nice to hear feedback like that from the drivers when they come to our interviews, right?
Oh, I'll tell you what, when they put on the product that they put on the track, it makes our job a lot easier. It makes it a lot more exciting. Let's face it, Sam, why do you and I do this? Because we enjoy it. We enjoy racing as a pastime. We enjoy racing as spectators. We enjoy racing as drivers. We just enjoy it. And having a platform of iRacing and, a league like Endurance for Amateurs and Pony Express guys, you putting on the product that they do, it's enjoyable all the way around.
Absolutely, and we look forward to bringing more for you as the weeks come along. But for right now, let's go to the results of tonight's race, and we're going to go by class right now. So starting with GTE. Coming home with the victory tonight was Terry Calgar Jr. 4.8 seconds ahead of Tyler Langenberg, who finished second place. David Lehman on his debut gets to third place, and very hard worked third place indeed. He even had a spin earlier on in the race and still came back and finished on the podium. So good result for him. Dennis Diaz finally gets beaten in a race. He gets P4 after a spin and a penalty. Came back and 37 seconds off the lead. Not too shabby for him. Sean Atkins gets the top 5. Tony Watson in P6 after a collision between those two put them behind Diaz. Nick Terrell on his debut gets P7. Brad McCombs in P8 in the System X machine. Derek Sherman in P9. Curtis Kelly rounds out your top 10. P11 going to Jimmy Colbert. 12th going to Timothy Bramlett. Kevin D'Elia in P13. Andrew Neri a retirement in P14 alongside Bryce Anderson, Steve Santana and Olive Vorotniak not starting the race here tonight, Byron.
GT3A, your winner, coming home in the first position, Ryan Tyler. P2 going to Carl Hardwick. Great run by him on his first run out here. Third goes to Marcus Osborne. Fourth goes to Mark Thomas. Eric Claybaugh gets fifth. Keith Roycroft sixth. Nicholas Paletti comes home seventh, followed by Lynn Kopp in eighth. Mark Herzog in ninth. Paul Boyle rounds out the top 10 in GT3A, followed by Tyler Vickery, Dallas Sullivan, and Timothy Emanuele.
Yep, and in GT3B, we have Zachary Nurnberger as your winner here tonight. William Alcala very happy in second place. Martin Dillon Jr. had problems early on, but still came back and grabbed the podium in that class. He finishes in third. Zachary Purcell in the Braun Mercedes gets P4. Dennis Crosby running out your top 5. Garrett McAllister in P6. Roger Shank, last week's winner, having not such a good race this time around. He gets P7. Dave Ferrara in his Martini Mercedes getting P8. And the last finisher in GT3B was Doug Betts in P9. Mackenzie Johnson, Atticus Middleton, Jake Elrod, Kelly Boucher, who finished on the podium last week, and Thomas Dennis, your list of retirees here tonight. Well, that's going to do it for us here on ESPN. Looking ahead on the schedule, tomorrow night we have Double Dip for you there with TNT Truck Action and the Dirt Race, and then on Friday we have Circle We Diecast Series returning to the screens. But for now, from myself, Sam Cooper Bennett, all that's left for me to say is keep it clean, keep it green, and from me and from Byron, have a good night.